Welcome everyone to the Kentucky Invasive Plant Conference. My name is Ellen Crocker. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Kentucky, as well as the president of the Kentucky Invasive Plant Council. And it is such a pleasure to have you joining today and a pleasure to be joining you through this conference. It's been a while since we've hosted a conference, and our last one was in person. And so we're excited to be using Zoom and reaching you all over the state and beyond. I see folks joining from all over the region. So happy to have you today and excited to be learning with you about invasive plants and native alternatives. So before we begin, I just want to recognize the sponsors of today's conference, in particular, the Kentucky Invasive Plant Council. You can find us online, and you can also find us on social media on Facebook and join us to learn about invasive plants and different training opportunities. A special thanks to the members of our board who joined me in planning this conference, in particular, Joyce Bender, Jess Slade, and Alexandra Blevins. In addition, thanks to our sponsors, the University of Kentucky Forest Health Extension and the Office of Kentucky Nature Preserves and the Kentucky Division of Forestry. So our plan for today is going to be first to talk about invaders for sale, where we'll be hearing about breaking down barriers to proactive and consistent regulation of invasive plants from Dr. Bethany Bradley. Then we will hear from Ellen Jacquard about Indiana invasive plant regulations. Then we will hear about native alternatives, and we'll have two presenters for that session, Alyssa Bosella from Ironweed Native Plant Nursery and Margaret Shea from Dropseed Native Plant Nursery. And after that, we will talk about new invaders to watch for. We'll be joined by Chris Evans to learn about Japanese chaff flower IDN management, then Matt Spalding to hear about lesser celandine IDN management, and finally Jess Slade about mile a minute weed IDN management. And then I'm going to briefly mention how you can be reporting the locations of new invasive plants on EdMaps. After that, we will have a short awards ceremony, and I know awards ceremonies are online are not quite the same as in person, but to recognize some great invasive plant management that's been going on. And then we're gonna have a survey that you all can complete, both to let us know how this could be improved in the future, but also for anybody who wants Kentucky pesticide applicators, CEUs, you'll need to complete this survey in order to receive those. So again, a big thank you to all of our speakers. We are so happy to have you joining today. Thank you for taking time from your schedules to talk with our group and share your expertise with us. A little bit of important meeting information before we get started. We are in a Zoom webinar instead of a Zoom meeting room. And that means that those of us who are panelists and presenters can see all of you joining today, but you might not be able to see each other, but you can use the chat. If you have kind of general programmatic questions or technology issues, you just want to share something with the group, you can put that there. I'm happy to report that we already have 143 folks joining us today, and we had over 200 people registered for this session. So clearly a lot of interest in invasive plants. This is being recorded, and I will make those recordings available through the Kentucky Forest Health YouTube page afterwards. But just a note that because of the way that KDA wants the CEU information for pesticide applicators within a couple days, you must complete that survey immediately following this if you'd like to get your Kentucky pesticide applicators CEUs. So if you are getting those CEUs, there'll be a survey. It'll be a link on Qualtrics, which is kind of a survey platform. It'll ask you a little bit about the conference as well as for your license number and some information like that. And then I will get that to Kentucky Department of Ag. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or you can put those in the chat. We're going to be using the Q&A feature for questions for the presenters. That'll help us kind of sort through the questions that you have. So if you have a question that you'd like asked to the presenters, make sure to put that in the Q&A instead of the chat, just to highlight it. If you do put in the chat, I'll try to find it anyways, but the Q&A will be an easier place for that. For our speakers, I just wanted to say that I will give you some time warnings if we reach close to your time, and let you know just to make sure that we have time for everyone today because we have so much fantastic information. And with that, I would like to turn it over to our first speaker, Dr. Bethany Bradley.